Hello everyone, so I'm Daniel Borins, and I'm going to talk to you about someone who's been in the news a bit recently, Donald Trump. So, I'm sure you're all familiar with one of Trump's most famous proposals during his campaign, which was to build a big wall on the Mexican-US border. Now, he wanted to build this wall to keep illegal immigrants from Mexico entering the US. But he convinced his supporters that this was necessary by painting all Mexicans as a dangerous threat, by calling them rapists and criminals. Unfortunately, this message resounded with millions of Americans who elected Trump as president. And now many Latino Americans feel threatened of getting deported from their homes. This wall is a clear example of xenophobia. So what is xenophobia? Xenophobia is the fear of strangers or of foreigners. And people who live in a country, we'll call them the in-group, often associate immigrants or the out-group with economic troubles, terrorism, and will even scapegoat them for their own problems. These xenophobic ideals perpetuated by Trump have also gained popularity across the Atlantic Ocean, as seen in many political parties in Europe. One example is the Brexit vote which happened, which was the vote to allow the UK to leave the EU, which was based on an anti-immigration xenophobic campaign led by Nigel Farage of the UK Independence Party. One of the immediate impacts of this vote passing was an increase in hate crime towards several ethnic groups in Britain. So why is xenophobia such a widespread phenomenon? Well, today I'm going to talk to you about one of the main theories that answers this question and explains why people have xenophobia, and that is called the integrated threat theory. This theory basically stipulates that people fear outsiders who they see as a threat. And there are 4 different components that make people see others as a threat, and I'm going to talk to you about each one of these today. So the first threat is realistic threats, and these are perceived physical dangers that outsiders may present, such as economic fears or fears of terrorism. People in the in-group may worry that they won't be able to gain the scarce resources that they have to compete for, such as jobs. And they may feel that the immigrants coming into their country may take the jobs that they rightfully deserve as native-born citizens of their country. However, this is not true. Many economists agree that immigrants actually increase the number of jobs in a country and increase the labor force, thus allowing for economic growth. So the next component are symbolic threats, and these are perceived differences in values and beliefs between the two groups. So people of the in-group may feel that their views and culture are completely different from those of the immigrants' culture entering their country. And they may feel that that culture may override their own and take over their life, which is why they may project negative attitudes toward these groups. This is echoed in the words of presidential candidates like Marine Le Pen of France, who has said that multiculturalism only invites conflict and doesn't belong in her country. The next component is intergroup anxiety, which involves the unease of interacting with others. So people of the in-group may feel that if they interact with those of the out-group, it will only lead to negative consequences. These consequences can range from the out-group rejecting them for failing to act appropriately according to their social standards, or the in-group even rejecting them for speaking with someone from the other group. The final component are negative stereotypes, which generalize a whole group of people to one oversimplified image. This image often represents groups in a negative light by heightening certain characteristics. So one stereotype, for example, are that Syrian refugees are terrorists who are coming into the country to do harm. Now, people who believe in this stereotype may not want Syrian refugees to immigrate to their country. And this stereotype is perpetuated by people like Trump and can also come from watching the news over-report a few ISIS attacks that have occurred. However, this is simply not true. The likelihood of Syrian refugees killing someone is 1 in 3.64 billion. So you're far more likely of getting run over by a lawnmower than getting killed by a Syrian refugee. So it's easy to get swept up by the rhetoric of people like Donald Trump and see people as a danger, as a threat. But it's important that we critically analyze these fears that we may have towards other groups of people and really evaluate the facts. because we cannot allow these perceived differences and stereotypes to influence our understanding of different cultures, because everyone deserves an equal opportunity and no one should be painted as the other. So I say, instead of building walls between us, let's break the barriers that divide us. Thank you.